नित्यानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. Nithyanandam, and welcome everyone for today's show, the 45th Chaturmasya Series, as we are celebrating the 45th Chaturmasya of our beloved Swamiji, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. The Chaturmasya is a sacred period between Guru Purnima and Vijayadasami, where all the Hindus around the world delve into spiritual practices, as this is the period of transformation, where they enter into spiritual practices such as yoga, meditation, puja, listening to satsang, and of course reading the books, sacred texts and books. So as we are celebrating this season, every day we have been listening to powerful satsangs from Swamiji and receiving powerful cognitions. And every day we have been having a special guest on our show, sharing their wonderful experiences, life transformative experiences that they have received from Swamiji. Today we have Sri Nitya Banahastananda, a founding father from Kailasa, United Kingdom, joining us today to share his experiences about completion. Completion, a powerful technique given by Swamiji, which not only can change your future, but it can alter your past as well, and opening up a whole new world of powerfulness and to manifest anything that you want in your life. Today we have Sri Nitya Banahastananda. Nithyanandamaya.
Nice to see you.
Nithyanandam, and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Could you please introduce yourself? How did you get introduced to Swamiji? And you have very profound experiences with completion. If you could please start with your journey. How did your introduction to Swamiji, and how did your journey begin?
Yes, so my introduction was that I was already meditating. So I learned mindfulness ostensibly by accident. And then a bit later, I learned transcendental meditation. And so I was meditating regularly, but I was stuck. And I was brought up as a Christian, so I did understand that there was some intelligence that was running the cosmos. But I wasn't an atheist. I knew there was something intelligent, but I didn't know how to tune into it. So what I did when I got stuck was I asked to be guided, and I meditated, and I just let go completely. And then 2 or 3 days later, a friend or an acquaintance contacted me on Facebook and invited me to an event in London. And it said something about living Advaita. So I immediately thought, this sounds like meditating all the time. It sounded like transcendental meditation, but living that way all the time, not just 20 minutes. So I decided, okay, I'll go to that. And then when I went there, then Swamiji was on the screen, and then everything changed. That was 11 years ago. So I asked to be guided, and Swamiji appeared.
Wonderful, Aya. So what was the program, and how was your experience? And how did your whole cognition about life or meditation change with that program?
I think what happened was I knew lots of people who were meditating, and they really enjoyed their meditation, but they were stuck. So a lot of them had no money. Or I just noticed that nearly everybody was getting stuck in the same way. Like some of them always had health problems, some of them always had relationships problems, someone that didn't have money, and I was trying to figure out, well, how do I get out of this situation? And then I read about things like the law of attraction, all these things, but I just couldn't get it to work. And then a big light went on when I got connected with Swamiji, because I realized he had the solution, which I've been looking for years. So I got hold of a hard copy of Living Enlightenment, and I read the first 400 pages. And then I decided, right, I'm going to go to India to meet him. So I was very fortunate. I went to Inner Awakening. So I think I got connected with him in May. And then in August, I was on Inner Awakening. And there were only 54 of us in the ashram. And we did completion every day for 3 weeks. At that time, Swamiji was really focused on completion. And I just realized, no, this is the solution. And I'd done so many things in the past. I'd done psychotherapy, I'd done all these things. And I realized, no, Swamiji has the solution I've been looking for years. And so simple. So, yeah.
So, there's always an aha moment when you meet Swamiji.
Yes.
Right? It is not, we realize, okay, he's not just a guru. It is not just a technique. It's something much beyond and more.
That happened the following year. Yeah. That happened in my case.
So how was that experience of first darshan with Swamiji?
Well, no, it wasn't that. No, it was actually looking back, it was quite funny. So the first time I went to see him, which was August 2014, I just went there to learn completion, right? That was it. And at that time, I think people were being quite modest. They were talking, okay, we do Hinduism, and we did Homa and all this kind. But it was a bit like being a tourist. Like I felt like a tourist. I'm here to learn completion. It's wonderful they're teaching me completion. That's it, right? And then darshan, I didn't understand at all. So we were lining up and doing, and then during the first program that I attended, my Kundalini got awakened and my body started jumping, and all this. And it was during the monsoon. I was sweating like crazy. But then I said, well, what on earth was that? And someone said, congratulations, that's your Kundalini awakening. And I didn't really understand. And I just so I parked that, right? And then I carried on doing completion for weeks. And when I got home, and it got to the point where my mind just went empty for about 36 hours. It was just astonishing. So I was walking around in London, like having meetings or making cups of tea or walking across the park with almost no thoughts. So that was the experience. And then the following year, I don't know if you know the chronology, but the following year, the I had a bit more Kundalini experience because Swami did some online programs, but I still didn't understand it. And then I was in London, and this girl at the time who was 10 years old came with her father, Sri Amrita, to London, and was the first person I saw reading wearing a blindfold. And then I think that must have been like September. And then October 2015, I went for a second program. I went for Shivoham, and all these teenagers were reading while wearing blindfolds. And I was just like, what on earth is going on? And then I just asked one of the acharyas, and she said, you have to understand Swamiji is not a normal human being. He's the formless in form. And that's my favorite definition, actually, especially when I'm talking to Westerns. I just say Swamiji is the formless in form. And then there were 100 of us, and I counted, of the 100, 10 were medical doctors, all specialists, right? And Swamiji was sitting in a circle healing people and then sending them to hospital. So someone had some terrible lung condition. So he healed her, and then he said, now go, this was in Varanasi. He said, now go to the hospital and have a scan done, make sure it's healed. And I was sitting next to Peter Bloomfield, Vaitishra, and I just said, where have we seen this before? I was thinking, this is like the New Testament. This is like Jesus, right? And he just said, this is unknown in Western medicine. And so my perception of Swamiji changed completely. It went from completion teacher to, formless in form, worker of miracles. So it changed very quickly the following year.
Wonderful, Aya. So could you share, in different dimensions of your life, you have seen transformation, whether it is health, whether it is wealth, in business, and also you have written books on the techniques that Swamiji has taught. Can you
Yes.
share the transformations that you have experienced with your health?
Oh, been many things. So, in terms of my health, I mean, I still sometimes have health challenges. You know, sometimes I have a problem that needs to get solved. And sometimes the healing has been immediate. So a couple of years ago, I had tendonitis. Oh, in fact, I had it. I had tendonitis for 3.5 years. So, and I couldn't figure out what had caused it. And at times it was quite difficult to walk. I think it's my right knee. And the doctor, medical doctor, ironically, my doctor is called Dr. Murthy. And my doctor couldn't solve it. And it just went on and on and on. And eventually, actually, I felt a bit guilty because at the time when Swamiji was doing darshan and we were messaging him on Zoom, I messaged him and I said, please heal my tendonitis so I can do yoga properly. And he said, I will heal you now. And it vanished. So after 3.5 years, I just had no tendonitis. So then I started doing yoga. Just disappeared. So that was the most extreme healing experience. Yeah. There have been other things that have taken a bit longer, but that was instant. So,
So
yeah.
beautiful, Aya. Mhm. So your experience, right? Like even hearing about Swamiji, like directly experiencing healing, hearing about the doctors sitting there receiving the darshan and getting healed, and so many things. How did this change your perception either about disease? Especially when Swamiji says 90% of the problems that we face are psychological and it is not physical. It is just everything is psychological. How did your perception change about health itself?
Well, I mean, I was brought up as a Christian. I have lots of friends who are Christians, and I went to church and Sunday school for 10 years. And the way I see it is I believe in healing more than they do. Because I've seen it, right? I've experienced, and so by the way, Swamiji heals through me. I have no medical training, and Swamiji has healed lots of people through me. So the way I see it is I already knew it existed because the Bible talks about it. You know, Jesus was clearly a great healer. And so I suppose what it was is when I saw it, I accepted it because I'd never seen it before, but I was brought up in a tradition that says this exists. And then I saw it really happening. And for me, it felt kind of weird, but it seemed natural because I was seeing Swamiji do something that I'd read about happening 2,000 years ago, and now it's happening in front of me. And then in my body and now through me. So it's like I was open to it intellectually. It was still a funny experience actually seeing it happen live and experiencing it live. That was it was a bit of a shock in a way. Like this thing is real. Oops.
Wonderful. So the completion, it made a whole lot of it literally turned your life upside down, and so many wonderful things started
Yes.
happening in your life with the completion.
Yeah.
And when you learn this technique, we typically what we do is, we remember our past, we suffer, we worry about, and we literally go back and the pain or suffering is just happening with the remembering of the past. And
Yes.
Swamiji gave us this beautiful technique of completion. By reliving the past, we can complete with it, change the past as well as change the future. Can
Yes.
you explain how this, your understanding, because this was a turning point in your life where it changed everything.
Yeah,
So
it's
can you
changed.
please share your experience of completion itself, your understanding of completion?
Yeah, well, my understanding of it has changed. And it's affected many areas of my life. It might be easiest if I do it chronologically. So I learned the technique and I've also shared it with lots of people. And Swamiji says relive to relieve. And I find an enormous number of people, including the very intelligent ones, They don't do it. They remember, they reconcile, they do everything except relive. And so I suppose it took me, it kind of went in layers. So I quite quickly found, for a long time, I thought that my root incident was when I was 5. So the last book that I wrote, which came out 5.5 years ago, I'd got back to the age of 5, which is my first day at school. And I already knew before I met Swamiji that I had this kind of outsider syndrome. Look, I felt like an outsider. And then when I met Swamiji, I realized it's not that, it's a feeling that I'm unacceptable. So my first day at school, I spoke with this accent, and a lot of the other children had a regional accent. And so they laughed at me and I felt unacceptable. So for a long time, I'd only got back to the age of 5 and I'd found this pattern of I'm unacceptable. And I realized that had a big effect on my life. But then I kept working away, and we did in the UK we did a lot of Samskara Dahana Kriya with as a group online. And I really did that seriously. And I eventually got very clear about it. Swamiji says there are 5 or 6 patterns running your life. So I found 5 patterns and I actually put them in a chart. I've put this in the new book. I've got this like Excel spreadsheet with my 5 patterns, and I know when they started, right? But this year, in February, I did Paramashiva Sena number 3. I did PSS 3 in California, and I suddenly realized what my root incident was, which is age of 3. So when I was 3, my mother took me to have my hair cut, and I didn't want to have my hair cut. And I was fighting in the chair, and eventually the barber cut himself, right? But I was really upset, feeling powerless, right? Stuck in this chair. And I realized in the space of about 5 minutes, I came to several conclusions. One is I'm a powerless victim. Life doesn't give me what I want. It's not fair. So all these beliefs happened in very few minutes, and then started running my life. I also found another one when I was 6. So we had an optometrist came to our school, and I failed my colorblindness test. He said, "You're partially red-green colorblind. You can't fly airplanes." So then I had beliefs such as it's impossible for me to fly airplanes. It's not, and all the other things. It's not fair. I'm unacceptable. The army won't accept me. So I got this chart, and then when I went to PSS 3, I just realized this incident when I was 3, when I had my haircut, that's the key incident. And I relived that intensely. And as far as I can see, my root pattern became very clear, which is I'm a powerless victim and life doesn't give me what I want. So basically the whole thing became redundant. And so I was in California, going to the temple every day, and I just felt like pleasantly empty. And then I just realized, oh, the patterns are, I know what the patterns are, but they're redundant. And I have to make a mental effort to remember them. And that's been a huge change. Since February, things have manifested more and more easily because I don't have these 5 or 6 patterns running in the background the whole time. I see it like a tree. The way I describe it in the book is imagine a tree and you pull the tree up by the roots and the tree's now lying on the ground, right? So you can look at the tree, but it's not in the way anymore. You just look straight ahead. And so I hope that clarifies. It's been a series of stages. And I kept saying to Swamiji, please show me this pattern. Please show me when this started.
Thank you, Aya. Actually, see, we have been talking some technical terms. We have been saying root patterns, we're saying completion, we're saying incompletion, and reliving. So what is this incompletion? Basically, the powerlessness that we feel many times in our life and feeling low about ourselves. So let us actually, there are many viewers watching us, watching this show from around the world. We could, hear from Swamiji. Let us listen from Swamiji as to what are these incompletions. What do they mean? How do they affect our life? How they are running our life instead of us running the life the way we want? And what is this completion technique that has done so many miraculous things here from, especially with Balahasta Ayya was sharing this, like the most powerful technique that he has experienced. So let us now hear from Swamiji. What are incompletions? What is completion? And what miracles that it can do in all your dimensions of your life? Let us listen from Swamiji.
Please listen. This one technique can give you whatever you want and lead you to the space of not wanting anything. Enlightenment itself. Please listen. Mahadeva, Shiva, directly initiates this technique to Parvati. This one technique can give you health, wealth, happy relationships, whatever miracles you want in your life, and ultimately enlightenment itself. Please understand, I am not lying. I am not giving you false hope. I am not giving you too much of promises. I am stating the straight fact, straight truth to you. Mahadeva himself, Shiva himself, gives this technique to Parvati in Shivagama. Shivagama is a large literature. Techniques Mahadeva himself taught to Devi, Parvati. It is Mahadeva's words, but I also experienced it. So I also stand for this technique and the truth revealed in this technique. This is from Shivagama, the portion called Shivajnanopanishad, Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, 94th verse, 22nd technique. Mahadeva is beautifully describing. I'll explain this technique and then give you exact procedure how to do it. Please listen carefully. Chittat yantaha kritir nasti mamantar bhavayet iti vigalpanam abhavena vigalpair uchito bhavet. It's direct Mahadeva's words. I'll read out the translation. Consciously feel within the mind stuff of past memories of incompletion with its activities as mind, intellect and ego are not existing in me. By contemplating this way in your inner space, disidentify from the past impressions and memories of incompletion. Put your active attention at the space of the past happening. Relive these imagined impressions and memories of incompletion. Then the mind stuff, having fully ceased from its present characteristics of forming thought patterns and cognitions, is complete. Thus you become complete and achieve the original space of complete completion. Now, I'll give you exact method. I've read out the original verse and translation just to tell you it is not my discovery. The technique is from the original Vedic tradition. I am only contributing the permutation combination, means how to do it. Only that is my contribution, but the original knowledge is from Vedic tradition. I'll give you an example of incompletion. For example, actually, this is one of the main example I use because I directly saw one person suffering with this problem. One person, when he was a kid, 7 or 8 year old, was walking in the beach with the father. He saw few fishermen fighting with each other. The fight ended in murder. One fisherman got killed. One person was killed. Naturally, the kid ran away from the scene. When he met me, he was at least 40. He says, even now I can't go to beach. Even if I cross beach in the car, I'll have that same palpitation, fear, same engrams coming up. Understand this situation. When I narrated this situation, how many of you feel you also have like this some patterns? Raise your hand. That's all. Now listen. The situation, the incident which happened, the child is walking and he is seeing 3-4 fishermen, few of them fighting with each other. One got murdered. That situation, that is the root incident. When he saw that, the powerlessness he experienced, that fear he experienced, the child was not able to handle that situation. So naturally, he suppresses and runs away. Whatever was happening in him, the fear or powerlessness, even that feeling, maybe this will be done to me also. All that feeling, he just suppressed and ran away from the situation. Understand? Whenever powerlessness is suppressed, along with that suppression, all the emotions associated in that situation, powerlessness means pain, suffering, fear, so many things, guilt connected to it, that I am not able to do anything in this situation. So many things associated with it. All that also gets suppressed. And as long as that suppression exists, this pattern will continue. Whenever he goes to beach, he will go through the same moments, experience, which he suppressed first time. For example, the suppressed powerlessness acts like a ground, and the pattern is a tree. I'll try to draw a tree. I don't know whether it looks like a tree, but imagine it's a tree. The suppressed emotions, powerlessness, fear, anger, inability to help, guilt, resentment, whatever the child would have gone through at that situation at the age of 7, when the incident happened, all that suppression forms like a solid ground for this incompletion pattern, tree to stand. See, this is the suppressed emotions. Suppressed emotions and powerlessness. And this tree is the incompletion pattern. Every time it repeats itself. Whenever you go to the beach, the experience repeating itself, the fear repeating itself, that attack, panic attack happening, that is the incompletion patterns. Listen. Because of this ground, this tree is standing. If you relive that incident, listen here, later on you can pen down, please listen. If you relive that incident, not remember, there's a big difference between remembering and reliving. Remembering means, now that man, when I met him, he was 40. Being a 40-year-old person, and thinking what happened at the age of 7 is remembering. But forgetting you are 40, becoming that 7-year-old, that same intelligence, same space, same mood, same identity. Even the idea about me, I, which you had at that same time. See, that person, to relive, has to become that 7-year-old identity. And if he relives, if you relive, the suppressed emotions, powerlessness will break, it will open up, it will leave your system. Automatically this incompletion pattern tree will not have place for its roots, it will fall off. Listen, this is the science of completion. All suppressed emotions, powerlessness, difficulties, guilt, resentment during the root incident keeps the incompletion pattern alive. If you relive that root incident, not remember. I am not asking you to remember. Remembering is superficial. Reliving means forgetting your present age, everything, dump it, go back to that age when that incident happened. Same mind, same energy, same consciousness, same intelligence, same identity. Become that, decide to become that. And start reliving the incident. Suddenly you will see all that pain, suffocation. You go through everything once more, but this time completely. You will allow that to leave your nervous system. You will allow that to melt down through your nervous system. You will allow that to cleanse your nervous system. With this cleansing, with this releasing, the panic attacks regularly you go through, incompletion pattern attack which you go through regularly will not be there. It will just collapse. The incompletion tree, incompletion patterns tree will just collapse because the ground is gone. The tree is not able to have the right ground. When the ground is taken away, naturally the tree collapses. This is the science of reliving. Please understand. Whenever I ask you to relive, don't judge that incident with your present knowledge. No. I am not asking you to reconcile. No. Completion is not reconciliation, it is not remembering, it is reliving. How many ever time you try to reconcile, you will never be able to forgive yourself, some people in your life for what has happened. So reconciling is not what I am asking you to do. Relive, not only you will forgive, you will forget them. I don't even ask you to forgive. don't forgive. You will simply forget them. You will simply forget them. I tell you, when you are able to forget them, they will have their karma back. Understand? When you are able to forget them, they will have their karma back. I never forgave anybody. And I never cursed anybody. I just know how to forget. They are having their karma back. Understand? So be very clear. Incompletions create emotional knots. I tell you, if you are holding on to that hatred, grudge, fear, unable to forgive yourself and others, you are only going to suffer. It's like you drink poison and you expect your enemy to die. No, that's foolishness. I never get agitated. I just make them get agitated. I just agitate them and leave it. Forget. You will be living in your space. They will only be getting agitated. Whoever has attacked you or tortured you. So listen. Completion is not reconciliation. Completion is not remembering. Completion is reliving. All of you are clear? Now, you have written so many of your fears and the incidents when the fears started. Pick up one by one the incident. Relive means forget your present age, identity, personality, drop everything. Go back to that same age and that same identity, that same mental setup. As much as you can remember that, become that. And try to relive that incident, how it happened, step by step. Slow motion flashback. Flashback in slow motion. Relive at least 5 times. Relive at least 5 times. You will see so much of suffocation, pain, resentment, guilt, anger, feeling tortured. Everything will open up. Everything will leave your system. The more and more this powerlessness leaves your system, more you will be blissful. More you will be complete. Of course, I am here. I will also support you. I will do my job, my jadoo. So don't worry. And I will see to it you are complete. With Mahadeva's grace, as a living representative of his energy, I bless you all. Let you all achieve complete completion, complete Purnatva in your life. Let's start the process. One by one, pick up each incident, each incompletion. Relive 5 times and move to the next. Relive, relive and relive. Pain, everything to melt down and complete. Relax. Slowly, very slowly, you can open your eyes. How many of you already feel the completion is working for you? You are feeling relieved with many of the stress and fears. Raise your hand. Good. Even if it doesn't click, catch in the first session, don't worry. In the next deeper process, you will catch it. It is one of the alpha to omega technique from a beginner to the professional seeker, this is the best technique. If you are new to spirituality, or you are in spirituality for last 35 years, 50 years, this is the technique. So I'll lead you into the next processes in the next sessions. Let's gather for next session. Thank you. Be blissful.
Nithyananda Dhyan.
The beautiful science of completion, which is an age-old technique revealed by Paramashiva himself in the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, and which Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, has revived and shared with the entire world. And Swamiji explains completion is such a powerful technique. It is more than healing, it is the science of reliving our past incompletions and dissolving the suppressed emotions and breaking free from all sorts of binding emotions such as fear, guilt, powerlessness. And through this technique, not only can we unlock, not only can we attract, blissful relationship, health, wealth, but it is also the science of how to rewrite our past. Like literally, Swamiji says, through this science of completion, we can change the past. And Banahastaya, you have mentioned how when you were a young boy, your mother, wanted to give you a certain haircut, but you did not want to go with that haircut, but um, and you were crying, but and it may seem as such a small incident, but it had such a huge effect in your inner space. Yes, Nityanandam. Apologies for the technical glitch. Yes. So, in this satsang, Swamiji beautifully explains the science of completion, which is an age-old technique given by Paramashiva himself in the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, and which the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, has revived and gifted with the entire world. And Swamiji says that completion is more than just healing. It is the science of relieving our past incompletions and dissolving all sorts of suppressed and binding emotions such as fear, guilt, and powerlessness. And through this technique, we can attract health, wealth, blissful relationship, but also we can even change, rewrite the past itself. And so, Banahastaya, you mentioned how when you were a kid, your mother wanted to give you a certain haircut, but you were resisting that haircut. And it may seem as such a simple, trivial incident, but it had such a huge effect in your inner space, and you did not even realize it. And now, so many decades later, only now, after doing the completion process once again at the Paramashiva Sena program, you're realizing that, hey, such a small incident is still sitting inside you. And I mean, so many parents, most of us, we don't realize, how these small incidents have such a huge impact on us. And so, since you've met Swamiji, you've started practicing the science of completion. And can you share with us, Saya, how did you see, by practicing the science of completion, the changes, the impactful changes that the science of completion has brought into your life?
Yes, certainly. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes. No, there have been many. And it's happened over a period of time. One reason I write books is to help other people get there much faster than me. Can you still hear me? Yeah. So yeah, it's been a series of stages. So one of them was physical. So I in my 30s I had sciatica. So people watching this may know that if you have sciatica, your sciatic nerve gets irritated in your lower back, and it makes it very hard to walk because you get these pains going down your legs. And so my mother was a physiotherapist, and she solved that. But many years later, when I was doing completion seriously, I was interested to know, Swami, we realized that we manifest our reality, and I started asking, how did I manifest sciatica? And I realized it went back a very long way, possibly to the age of about 1 or 2. Swamiji talks about boiling the land or boiling the sand. When you have this feeling that for example, some feeling that something is wrong before you even have vocabulary. And I realized I had that. I was crying in my cot and in my crib, and nobody came. And that eventually manifested as sciatica. So I can see very clearly how these incompletions they can manifest as physical illnesses. And people I've been involved in, Swamiji's healed people through me, and I've seen more and more connection between completion and healing, including some very serious illnesses.
Such a powerful sharing, Aya. And in fact, this is a very nice example how the science of completion can even bring health and wellness, can heal the diseases in us. And there's testimonials from so many other people who got healed from even cancer through the science of completion, and not just one or two people, but so many people Swamiji healed their cancer just through this very simple science. And so
Mm.
you have written a book on completion, Aya, inspired by Swamiji. And
Yeah.
so how did you see that, I mean, first of all, how did you get inspired to write the book? And how do
Mm.
you see that this has enriched others to practice the science of completion?
Yeah, well, I started writing. So when I learned to meditate, apparently by accident, that was my first big breakthrough, and that was before I met Swamiji. And I just realized, oh, I discovered how to be present and let go and allow things to happen. And as soon as I discovered that, I started writing. I mean, what I tend to do is if I have the same conversation 10 times with 10 different people, I start writing. So I started writing a book about that. And I met Swamiji while that book was evolving. And then I realized the completion technique is so powerful that I included that in the book, which got published 5.5 years ago. So I've always been motivated by helping people. That's why I write books. And so that book, which I mean, and I was very surprised because I just sent the book to the publishing department at Kailasa's publishing department, just to make sure they were happy with it. And then I got an email saying Swamiji has given his blessings, which I never expected. I didn't understand about that. And then it was published the day that the bookshops closed for COVID because of COVID. And in English, it's sold 250,000 copies so far. And then there's Spanish and Hindi and Arabic, and so for me that the main thing is to help as many people as possible. And so the new book is intended to reach a much bigger audience in as many languages as possible. Because the way I see it, that's how, for example, if you take all the violence in the world, if everybody learns completion, there won't be any violence. So it's incredibly powerful and so simple, at least in principle. The principle is very simple. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. So, yes, definitely it did. And, as you said, helping people motivates you. And, that's the reason why you have written the book. And I know recently Swamiji also blessed you with your another book that you have
Yes.
recently written. Could you
Yeah, he
please
keeps
talk about
he
that
keeps
as well?
blessing me. Actually, what happened was, I think it's important for people listening to understand this. I asked for blessings for this new book, and quite a while ago, Swamiji said, "Do yoga and puja, I will write it." And in the meantime, I had learnt to surrender. So I just say, "Swamiji or Paramashiva, please manifest through me." And so I've been reading the proofs recently, and I just realized, well, Banahasta didn't really write this. Some of the stuff I think, oh, this is really good, but and I don't really recognize it. So it's kind of manifested through this body, right? So that's been a very interesting experience, like allowing Paramashiva to manifest through this body and welcoming that is a very powerful experience. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And you had also shared that through this way, just by surrendering every moment, you're
Yeah.
able to manifest many things.
Yeah.
Please share about that experience.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So it was 4 years ago. I've put this in the new book. 4 years ago, I saw this video where Swamiji says, "Ask Paramashiva to manifest through you." And anybody can do this. Anybody watching this can say, "Paramashiva, Swamiji, please manifest through me." And then he says in Bhagavad Gita Decoded, in the last chapter, he says, if you surrender, your intuition will tell you what to do. So that's what I do, is I say, "Paramashiva, Swamiji, please manifest through me." And then I get instructions about what to do. Right? Then I just follow the instructions. So I first experienced this during the pandemic. I was traveling in Wales in the UK, and I was traveling on my own, and there were all these difficulties, like, not being able to hire a car and not having anywhere to stay and all these things. And I kept asking Paramashiva to manifest through me, including parking space for this big truck that I ended up renting. And I find if anyone wants to experiment with surrender, traveling is a fantastic way to do it, because there's all this uncertainty and all these things that go wrong. And if you keep saying, "Swamiji, please manifest through me," it all gets solved. I've just been in the Caribbean because I went to Paramashiva Sena 8 and then I traveled a bit in the Caribbean. And it happened several times, like all these things not working. You say, "Swamiji, please manifest through me," and then it all gets solved. The traveling is a wonderful way to experience it. And in the new book, there are 3 examples, and 2 of them are about traveling. And what's interesting about it is how you might imagine you go traveling somewhere and you have several desires. It's amazing how the whole thing synchronizes and all the desires are fulfilled, frequently in ways that your mind can't understand. So that's how I live now. Friends of mine that happened today, they asked me about plans for the future. And I said, well, I know my desires, but I don't worry about how it's going to happen. As long as I surrender, it will just happen in the best way. It's fine.
Wonderful. Actually, we have many viewers watching us. If you have any questions, comments, or if you'd like to share your experiences of completion and manifesting what you want in life, please post your comments on the chat box. And we would love to hear your experiences as well. And today we are here discussing with Srinitya Banahastanandaya from Kailasa, UK. And Aya, this way, by manifesting what you desire, you also manifested to be a Sarvajna Pita Ejaman, to
Yes.
become a member of Parliament of Chittapa. Can you please share your experience on that?
Yeah, that was interesting. And that was part of the surrender, actually, because I realized, so I started, I offered a small amount, and I realized after a while I was attending these wealth manifestation classes, in the Sangha, and I just realized if I carry on like this, it's going to take me 300 years to fulfill my desires, and this is too long. And the Acharya said, you just need to take the leap. So I did. I mean, my mother would have strangled me. I basically took money out of some investments and just completed SJP, because I just said, I can't carry on living like this. I need to change. And I realized what I was doing is I was clinging onto money. So this is the big shift and also I studied economics, right, which is all about scarcity. So I was hanging on to this money that I'd managed to accumulate, but it wasn't enough. And I was trying to offer money for SJP in small amounts, but my life wasn't changing. And then I said, okay, I just need to change to finish it. And I suppose the big shift was I stopped hoarding money and I really began to see myself as a channel. So a long time ago, I was in the ashram and the yoga acharya said, become a pure channel. And some people watching this, they may know there's a passage in Living Enlightenment where Swamiji talks about being bamboo. And so if the bamboo is hollow and it's not blocked by ego, then the divine can play beautiful music, right? But if the bamboo is blocked by ego, then it's only useful for carrying dead bodies down to the ghats to be burned, right? And I realize I need to become a pure channel, and that's how I see it now. Is like my mindset has shifted from a person hoarding money to being a channel, and the channel. So I've experienced being a channel for healing, being a channel for books, being a channel for manifesting wealth. Like in London, we're manifesting a temple, right? So my the way I see it now is I'm a channel. That's all I need to do, be a channel. Get rid of the ego. Use completion to empty out the channel. And then ask Swamiji Paramashiva to manifest through the empty bamboo. And then amazing things happen, right? And it's very relaxing. I mean, a lot of people struggle to be present, but I find it's actually quite easy to be present when you're not worried about the future anymore. You're just kind of grateful and things keep happening. So.
Yes. Yeah, actually, unless we start flowing, we don't realize how rich we are.
And so until we start?
There's a scarcity. And unless we start sharing, flowing as a channel, we don't realize how rich we are already.
Yeah, exactly.
We're stuck with the scarcity.
Exactly. You know, there's that thing that people do with a tube. What's it called? When you siphon water, and when you suck on, you know, you have a tube and it's in some water. When you suck on the tube, there's a point where it gets its own momentum, and the water just keeps pouring through the tube. So it feels like that, right? After a while, you don't need to do very much because it just keeps coming through the tube.
Yes, so beautifully said. Yeah, this completion technique that Swamiji said, like Swamiji says, not only you can alter your future, you can actually alter your past. That was like, wow, I understand you can change your future, but how do you change your past? And Swamiji explains through the completion, you can actually change your past. How is this understanding about this? Like your understanding of how do you alter your past? Can you share, please?
Well, I'm intrigued by it because you've both been talking about it today, and I'm just wondering if I'm fascinated by that. I can see how my perception of the past has changed. But it makes sense that the past has changed. I think I have to reflect on that. Yeah, I mean that's yeah. I don't know. I'm fascinated to understand that better.
Yes, Aya. Actually, Swamiji says it might seem very unusual, or but yes, indeed, Swamiji revealed that the past can be changed, not just in our, not just psychologically, but even physically. The past can be rewritten just through the science of completion. And so now let us watch another video, another satsang by Swamiji to delve deeper into this very particular topic. How do we alter our past through the science of completion?
Excellent.
Completion, Purnatva Sthiti. Just today morning, I have discovered some of the very important truths about completion. I'll expand on it. आज सवेरे ही पूर्णत्व स्थिति के बहुत ही प्रमुख रहस्य में सत्य मेरे सामने प्रकट हुए हैं, आज मैं उसके बारे में बात करूंगा. First thing I wanted you to understand, only in completion four tattvas work. Only in completion you are able to live four tattvas as it should be lived. Please understand, only in completion the four tattvas happen in you as it should happen. When you don't spend enough of time, energy, intention towards the completion, ध्यान से सुनिए, intention is important ingredient for completion. You need to understand, intention is important ingredient for completion. Let me define completion. Let me define completion. ध्यान से सुनिए. You need to understand incompletion first. Then you will understand what is completion. जब आप पूर्णत्व स्थिति में रहने की संकल्प नहीं लेते हैं, तब पूर्णत्व स्थिति में रहने संभावना नहीं है, संभव नहीं है. Listen, whenever you talk to yourself, there is a part of you disrupting you constantly is incompletion. Means not believing. Understand? You say, I will live four tattvas. Immediately one part of you laughs at you. Like this you said millions of things. You say, I will be successful. You tried so many things. What happened? Understand? When you utter something, when you talk to yourself something, one part of you which does not believe you, one part of you which does not agree with you, one part of you which is not saying yes to you, is incompletion. One of the biggest problem with this incompletion, listen, one of the biggest problem with this incompletion, you will not be able to settle within you. You will not be able to live within you constantly. Mean really constantly. You will be having kind of a life imprisonment experience. And because of that incompletion, you will not be able to live any tattva. Neither you will be able to live integrity, nor you will be able to live authenticity, or you will be able to live responsibility or enriching. See, incompletion first attacks your self-assessing mechanism. You have a self-assessing mechanism in you. Just like internal auditing for any organization, just like internal auditing for any organization, there is a self-assessing mechanism. Once in a while you see, what am I doing, what is going on, Am I on the right direction? Will I be on the right direction? Is this okay? The more number of times you do self-assessing, more you will be self-centered and self-torturing. It is incompletion which gives you the insecurity, makes you do self-assessing again and again. जब भी आप स्वयं के कोई भी बात करते हैं, आप में उपस्थित ऐसी एक बाघ है जो आपके बात का विश्वास नहीं करता है। वह बाघ है आपका अधूरा बाघ, tattvas, as it should be lived when you don't spend enough time, energy, intention towards completion. Intention is important ingredient for completion. पहली बात आज मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप समझे हो यह है कि केवल पूर्णत्व स्थिति में ही चार तत्व काम कर सकते हैं। केवल पूर्णत्व स्थिति में ही आप चार तत्वों को जीना संभव है। आपका उद्देश्य, आपका अभिप्राय, आपका उद्देश्य, आपका अभिप्राय, आपका उद्देश्य, आपका अभिप्राय पूर्णत्व स्थिति का एक महत्वपूर्ण भाग है। आप में एक स्वयं को विश्लेषण करने वाली एक प्रक्रिया छिपा हुआ है। आप में उपस्थित यह प्रक्रिया ही आप में अधूरे भाग को जीवित रखता है। Please understand, listen. Only with completion inside you can even listen. Even at this moment, if your clothes are unwashed, lying in your room, if you have put some clothes in your laundry machine, if you have kept milk on the oven, it's boiling, if there are any incompletion around you, you will not be settled. You will not listen. Listening happens with completion. Listening happens with completion. One more thing you need to know. How the incompletion will be, I explained. How the completion inner space will be, I can't explain. The space of completion, how it will look, how it will feel, I can't explain, because any word I use, you will not understand. It will be Sutta Sugabodha Chinmaya Swabhavananda. What, you understood? No. You can't. What is incompletion? I can explain, you can understand, because it is your experience. When you are in the space of incompletion, any decision you make, part of you will laugh at you, not cooperate with you, not say tatastu to you, not listen to you, not involve itself to you. सुनिए और समझने की कोशिश कीजिए। केवल पूर्णत्व स्थिति में स्थिर होने से ही आप सुन पाएंगे। अगर आपके अंदर और बाहर कुछ भी अधूरा रहते हैं तो आप सुन नहीं पाएंगे। सुने की शक्ति आप में केवल पूर्णत्व स्थिति से ही विकासित होता है। सुनने की शक्ति आप में केवल पूर्णत्व स्थिति से ही विकसित होता है. Understand? In the state of incompletion, you don't listen. You act like listening, you don't listen. You don't see, you act like seeing, you don't see. It is very important. Human beings need to understand. With incompletion, you will neither be able to practice four tattvas, nor the four tattvas will bring those desired results in you. If there is incompletion, you can't practice integrity with integrity. Only when you practice integrity with integrity, listen, only when you practice integrity with integrity, you will have Vak Siddhi. Only when you practice authenticity with authenticity, you will have the space of possibility. Only when you become responsibly responsible, you will become a leader. First thing, you need to bring completion in you. You need to bring completion in you to start four tattvas working in you, bringing result in you. Spend the first 6 months after initiation into this tattva just for completion. Swapurnatva and purnatva with completion with others. By not disturbing or sacrificing your regular life, I have seen, in the name of completion, people don't work and don't do their responsibility, just waste the time and energy. Understand? Completion has to be done along with your intense, active routine. It is like you should continue to build the building and demolish the old. If you are trying to demolish the old and not build, that gap will again be filled with incompletion. Understand? अपूर्ण और अधूरे स्थिति में आप सुनते नहीं है, सुनने की नाटक करते हैं. जब आप में अपूर्ण स्थिति जिंदा है, तब आप संपूर्ति को संपूर्ति के साथ निभा नहीं पाएंगे. केवल जब आप संपूर्ति को संपूर्ति के साथ अभ्यास करें, तभी आप संपूर्ति में पूर्ण तरह से स्थापित हो सकते हैं. अपूर्णत्व आपके स्वयं के विश्लेषण पर आक्रमण करता है. जब भी आप स्वयं का विश्लेषण करते हैं, आप स्वार्थी बनते हैं एवं आत्मयन यात्रान का अनुभव करते हैं. आप असुरक्षा का अनुभव सकते हैं. केवल पूर्णत्व स्थिति में ही आप सुन सकते हैं. इन 4 तत्वों में दीक्षित होने के पश्चात 6 महीने पूर्णत्व का अभ्यास कीजिए, किंतु ये आपके प्रतिदिन के काम के साथ साथ होने चाहिए। केवल पूर्ण स्थिति में रहने से ही आप चार तत्वों को पूर्ण तरह से जीने लगेंगे और उन्हें अपनी हर प्रतिक्रिया में व्यक्त कर पाएंगे। When there is a completion in you, four tattvas act like a fire put on the blasting explosive material. If you put the fire on explosive material, is it going to slowly catch the fire, then little smoke, then little fire? Is it going to happen? It will just explode. There are some people, the moment they listen the four tattva, it will become experience in them. They will start living it. There are some, the four tattvas, work on them like a slow, aste, aste. Why in some people four tattvas work like explosive material? Why in some people four tattvas work on like a fire put on wood, sometime fire put on stone? Sometime it's like a fire put on the wetland, fire gets put off. Four tattvas disappear. Swapurnatva and Purnatva should be your spiritual practice. Swapurnatva and Purnatva should be your spiritual practice. जब आप पूर्णत्व स्थिति में स्थिर है, चार तत्व आप में के एक ज्वाला की तरह प्रज्वलित होंगे। तब मात्र चार तत्वों के बारे में सुनने से ही आप चार तत्वों में विस्फोट हो जाएंगे। Completion is an important lesson you need to learn to make these four tattvas experience. Listen. If you are in completion, you will not be in restlessness during the gaps I give. It is by giving the gaps I find out whether people are in completion or incompletion. What is the level of the space they are in? Then I start my satsang. Then I continue what I wanted to offer. ध्यान से सुनिए। जब आप पूर्णत्व की स्थिति में है, तब चार तत्व एक विस्फोटक पर अग्नि डालने के समान है। क्या वो अग्नि धीरे धीरे बढ़ेगी? नहीं, उसका सीधा विस्फोट होगा। Understand? This is the important, very important truths which you need to catch it. Some more things I wanted you to know about completion. It is only after the complete completion inside, you will be able to practice these four tattvas as reality. If I am asked to pick up one more tattva along with four, I will pick up completion. It is that important. Without completion, the four tattvas never become reality. Understand, it is completion that makes the right thing happen in you. It is completion that makes life happen in you. Completion is Shiva, listening is Devi. When you are in completion, you are established in the Shiva, the masculine energy in you. If you are listening, you are established in the Devi, the feminine energy in you. When you are in completion, Shiva will be available to you as Dakshinamurti. When there is incompletion, he will be in you as Kala Bhairava to destroy the incompletions. पूर्णत्व स्थिति शिव है और सुनने की शक्ति देवी है. जब आप पूर्णत्व स्थिति में है, आप अपने भीतर के शिव शक्ति में समाहित है. जब आप सुनते हैं, तब आप अपने भीतर के देवी शक्ति में समाहित है. Only with completion you become one integrated being. All your inner space, body, mind, everything comes under your control. Everything comes under you, becomes you, part of you. One more thing you need to know. When you do completion now, don't think only from now your future will be in completion, complete. No! Even your past gets altered. Even your past become complete. Completion is the only method where you can even alter your past. Human beings are made to believe past cannot be altered. You need to know, if past cannot be altered, future also cannot be altered. Past, present, future, all three are in the same DNA, seed of Kala. Listen. If Kala is the seed, past, present, future, all these three are in DNA form in that seed. Your attitude towards the past, your attitude towards the future will be same. If you think you are powerless, you were powerless in your past, you will be powerless in your future also. If you are powerless in the past, you will be powerless in future. So spend time on completion, energy on completion, mainly intention. Decide to be complete. Decide to be complete. More than spending time, it is your intention, decision that keeps you in completion. Decision to be in completion, that keeps you in completion. जब आप पूर्ण है, शिव आप में दक्षिणामूर्ति के रूप में है. जब आप अपूर्ण है, शिव आप में काल भैरव के रूप में है. आपकी अपूर्ण स्थिति का विनाश करने के लिए. हम समझते हैं कि अतीत को परिवर्तित नहीं किया जा सकता है. सुनिए, अगर काल एक बीज है दो अतीत वर्तमान और भविष्य उस बीच के डीएनए है, और इन तीनों में से किसी भी पहलू को आप कभी भी परिवर्तित कर सकते हैं. Understand, if you feel you were powerful in the past, you will be powerful in the future. I'll give you one small example from my own life, my own experience. Just yesterday, suddenly, I called the lake designers, people who design huge water bodies, took them around the campus, finalized one place and asked them to dig a huge lake which will hold almost 3 crore liter water. Means 2-acre land. It will be named as Nithyananda Sarovar. Almost 1 crore we will be spending just on that lake. It's a huge money. Huge money. Our ashramites could not understand. For all of us to take bath, Vaidya Sarovar is there, pure water, and it is also getting cleaned with more machineries and tiling, and so much of right maintenance is happening. So, and for water storage, we have Manasarovar in the ashram. Then why one more tank? Nithyananda Sarovar, huge that also, around 2-acre water body. Naturally, my construction department people asked, why do you want to spend 1 crore on this, Swamiji? I said, dig 45 feet, 250 feet breadth and 400 feet length. Go 40 feet, 45 feet. Make a huge water body, almost like a lake. Naturally, they could not understand. I said, you do it. And finally, they said, at least tell us the reason why suddenly you are spending so much of money on creating a water body and wasting almost 2-acre land. I said, no, it is not a waste. Kalabhairava gave me a clear command to strengthen the water body in the campus. Even the Manasarovar, we are going to dig 40 feet deep. We are making it as a huge water body. I always felt I was complete and successful, powerful in the past, so the future automatically prepares me. Future automatically reveals whatever I need to know. Future automatically teaches me whatever I need to know. All I want you to understand, any inability you perceive is because the inabilities you perceive about you in your past. The self-assessing mechanism, the mechanism which assesses you continuously. Understand, the self-assessing mechanism, the mechanism which assesses you completely will give you high rating only when you are in completion. When you are not in completion, no way you will have a high rating about you. Even if you are doing spiritual practices for 25 years, you will not have a high rating about you. How many of you want high rating given to you when you assess yourself? Raise your hand. Because this is the biggest suffering with which you are suffering. Low rating of yourself when you assess you. In complete completion, the self-assessing mechanism will disappear. You won't even assess you. I don't assess me. Only when you are in completion, you can be successful, whether in your business or in your relationships or in your political career or even in your health. You experience health when you are in completion. You experience wealth when you are in completion. कल मैंने हमारे आश्रम में एक झील का निर्माण करने का निर्णय लिया और उससे संबंधित कर्मचारियों को बुलाया था। इस प्रोजेक्ट के लिए हमें 1 करोड़ रुपया निवेश करना होगा और इसके लिए हमें 2 एकड़ भूमि का जरूरत है। मेरे आश्रम वासियों ने मुझसे पूछा कि हम अब ये काम क्यों कर रहे हैं। तब मैंने उन्हें बताया कि अगले साल के अंत में कर्नाटक राज्य में 3 साल का घोर अकाल आने वाला है और हमें उसके लिए तैयार होना है। क्योंकि मैं अतीत के साथ पूर्णत्व स्थिति में हो, अतीत के साथ पूर्णत्व स्थिति में हो, मुझे भविष्य स्पष्ट तरह से साफ दिखाई देता है। Why I am saying about this drought in the national television, I expect somebody will see and tell the government to be prepared. In those days, enlightened masters were Rajagurus. They used to see all this future happening and tell the king he will be prepared. Now, it's unfortunate the Guru's words are not taken. So I cannot tell directly. I am telling through the national channel. If the government wants, they can listen and be prepared. जब आप पूर्ण है, केवल आपका भविष्य ही नहीं बल्कि आपका अतीत भी पूर्ण हो जाता है। अतीत को परिवर्तित करने का एक मात्र तकनीक है पूर्णत्व। पूर्ण होने का सीधा तीव्र निर्णय लीजिए। Decide to be in completion. Decide to be in completion. Decide to be in completion. When you are in completion, all the 4 tattvas work miracles in you. If I have to describe the life of completion, I only can use the word eternal ecstasy, joy. Nothing else can be the word. मैं इस अकाल की बात को राष्ट्रीय टेलीविजन पे इस बात इसलिए बता रहा हूँ ताकि सरकारी कर्मचारी इसके बारे में सुने और वे इसका सामना करने के लिए जनता की सहायता करें। When you are in completion, you experience ultimate health. Listen. Your inner space experiences past and future in a same language, in a same way. I tell you how your past is built. Incidents, your perceptions, and your self-assessments. These are the pillars with which your past is built. If you complete yourself now, your perception and self-assessments means 66% of your past will be burnt. Then can your past stand as it is now? No. It will just be with facts. So your past will lose its power over you. Your past will be transformed. That is the way your future will be transformed. जब आप पूर्णत्व के स्थिति में स्थिर होते हैं, तब आपका स्वास्थ्य सर्वोच्च स्थिति में स्थिर होता है. जब आप पूर्णत्व स्थिति में नहीं है, आप अपनी स्वयं विश्लेषण में अधिक अंक नहीं मिल सकते हैं. जब आप पूर्णत्व स्थिति में है, आप अपना स्वयं विश्लेषण नहीं करेंगे. जब आपका स्वयं विश्लेषण करने वाला व्यक्तित्व और आप एक बन जाते हैं, तब आप अद्वैत स्थिति में स्थापित हो जाएंगे. केवल पूर्णत्व स्थिति में ही आप किसी भी क्षेत्र में सफल हो सकते हैं, चाहे वो व्यापार हो, संबंध हो, राजनीति हो या आपका स्वास्थ्य हो. आपका अतीत का निर्माण हो रहे घटनाओं से, उनके बारे में आपकी दृष्टिकोण से और उनके बारे में आपकी स्वयं विश्लेषण करने की प्रतिक्रिया से होता है. आपका अतीत का निर्माण हो रहे घटनाओं से, उनके बारे में आपकी दृष्टिकोण से और उनके बारे में आपकी स्वयं विश्लेषण करने की प्रतिक्रिया से होता है. You need to catch it. You need to understand it. You need to live it. केवल पूर्णत्व स्थिति से आपके स्वयं विश्लेषण करने की प्रतिक्रिया को आप परिवर्तित कर सकते हैं, और तभी आप अपने अतीत और भविष्य को भी परिवर्तित कर सकते हैं. और तभी आप अपने अतीत और भविष्य को भी परिवर्तित कर सकते हैं. Through the proper techniques, go on completing with everyone and with you. Whatever you can't complete, typically complete it through catharsis processes. Completion can be done by 3 ways. 1, self-completion, sitting with mirror. 2nd, with whoever you have incompletion, talking to them and completing it. 3rd, very important, catharsis methods. Sometimes you don't even know with whom you have incompletion. You will not be able to find why you have incompletion. Is it with you or with others? Catharsis. Through catharsis, do the completion. Completion is the base for life to be built. Completion is the base on which life can stand. First thing required for completion is decision to be complete. Intention to be in completion. When you are in completion, only then you start living. Only when you are incompletion. Decision to be complete is the most important thing you need. पूर्णत्व की स्थिति में होने की 3 तरीके हैं। पहला है स्वपूर्णत्व, आईने के साथ बैठना। दूसरा है उन लोगों के साथ पूर्णत्व करना जिनके साथ आप अपूर्ण है। तीसरा है रेचन की क्रिया। स्वपूर्णत्व क्रिया की प्रक्रिया में आपको पहले अपनी जीवन के हर संघर्ष को ध्यान से परख कर देखना होगा। पहले आपको अपनी हर संघर्ष में अपने आंतरिक स्थिति को समझना होगा। अपने अंदर होने वाले नकारात्मक भावनाओं को पहले आपको पहचाना होगा। उसके बाद आप अपनी बीती हुई जीवन के हर घटना को स्मरण करना होगा जहां आपने ऐसी ही नकारात्मक भावनाओं को महसूस किया है। तब आपको आईने के सामने बैठना होगा इस समझ से कि आईने के अंदर आपकी अधूरी एवं अपूर्ण भाग है, आईने के बाहर आपका पूर्ण भाग है। तब आईने के अंदर उस हर घटना को पुनः लाइए और उसे पुनः जीने का अभ्यास कीजिए। आईने के बाहर अब जो आपका पूर्ण भाग है उसको उपयोग करके आईने के अंदर जो आपका अपूर्ण भाग है उसको पूर्ण कीजिए। यह स्वपूर्णत्व क्रिया को आप अपने हर नकारात्मक विचार धारा एवं अनुभव के साथ बार बार कीजिए। Understand? Tomorrow I will expand on root thought pattern of sufferings and how you can experience deep completion by discovering your root thought patterns. Your root thought pattern and discovering your root thought pattern. This will be the subject for tomorrow's Nitya Satsang. कल मैं आपके मूल विचार धारणा के बारे में बात करूंगा जो आपके जीवन के हर प्रतिक्रिया का मूल आधार है। The root thought pattern is the source of your every response of your life. That is source of every response of your life.
Very powerful revelations from Swamiji on completion and how important it is. And when you are incomplete, you will not be able to live the 4 tattvas, which is the integrity, authenticity, enriching, and responsibility and enriching. So Swamiji has revealed, the deepest context about completion. And even though we would have seen these satsangs before, or we would have probably sat live in front of Swamiji and attended this session, every time we listen to Swamiji, even if it is the same satsang, there's more and more revealed. One has the idea, given that, completion is the solution for you, which you take that completion is the solution for everything, right? And when you listen to Swamiji now, what are the new revelations that you received from today's Swamiji satsang?
What really struck me about that one was, it fits with my experience. I find myself listening in a completely different way now, like really listening in an empty space. That's one thing. But what he was saying just now about when you complete, then in terms of the past, you're just left with the facts. So if understood correctly, he was saying you don't have the perceptions and you don't have the self-assessment or the self-auditing. So I'm just reflecting on that. It's just facts, not without all the story around it, right? And the story is the thing that messes up your life. So it's a great relief to get rid of that.
Definitely the world of what actually happens and how we build our stories within ourselves about
Well,
any particular incident.
I was just reflecting on it just now. Okay, so I was 6 years old and I did this colorblindness test, and this man said, "You're colorblind, you can't fly airplanes." That's just what he said a long time ago. Well, okay. And then at the time, I made a whole massive story out of it. But that's kind of lost its power now. And the difference is enormous, right? In terms of how you live your life, the difference is enormous. It's now basically an incident when I was 6. It's not a whole drama going on for decades.
Wonderful. And given you're living the space of completion, how is your life as as your business, as your career? How has it helped in your career, the completion thing?
Well, my life now is completely different because I used to worry about the future a lot. And I used to be constantly thinking about what do I do next? How is this going to work? How will I have enough money? Or how will my relationships work out? I was always thinking about the future and analyzing and planning. And now what I find myself doing is now that my patterns are redundant, the patterns and the root pattern that Swamiji was talking about just now. So the root pattern is not running my life anymore. And so the way I live now is I make sure I'm complete, and then I'm very careful about what I hold in my inner space because I know it manifests. So it's just like there's this empty space, Chidakasha, and then okay, well, let's be careful what we keep in there because it's going to manifest in the outside world, right? And I don't worry about how it's going to manifest. In fact, it's quite entertaining because things often manifest in a way which I didn't expect. It's quite fun, really. Instead of this whole planning and logical, I mean, friends of mine, some of them, they have this whole planning process about how things are going to work. And I don't worry about that anymore. All I do is I'm clear about the desire and I take action. I follow my intuition. I follow what Swamiji says, but I don't need to worry about how it's going to work out because Swamiji takes care of that, right? Paramashiva takes care of how. Yeah. So it's
Yes.
a
And
much
I do
more.
have
No, I was going to say it's a much more enjoyable way to live, definitely.
definitely, yeah. And one thing Swamiji has told in the previous satsang is that completion is the alpha to omega technique.
Hmm.
Why do you think it is? Like, you have meditated before for many years, and then you felt you were stuck, and then of course Swamiji revealed this completion technique. And also whether they are new, whether they are beginner, whether they are experienced or a seeker for many years, still this completion technique works for them.
No,
Why do
yeah.
you think that is?
Well, I, I, I mean, I still meditate. I still found it very beneficial. I think one thing is the completion technique is so quick. So if you when I realize, okay, this is the thing I need to complete, right? Once I understand, I mean, sometimes I feel disturbed and I just sit there, I just stop what I'm doing and I look inwards. Okay, what is it that's bugging me? And once I find that incident, I relive it. It feels like there's a kind of an electrical charge. There's some agitation in my body, and then when I complete, it's like the electrical charge leaves my body, and I'm not agitated anymore. So it can be extremely quick. Whereas some meditation techniques, they talk about releasing samskaras on that, but they talk about it taking a very long time, like years. Whereas completion can be minutes. It's very quick. Once you find the incident, I asked Swamiji to show me the incident. By the way, that thing about the haircut, I was saying to Swamiji, please show me the original incident when I came to these conclusions. And what happened was a friend posted on Facebook. She had a son who was 4 years old at the time, and she was complaining that the son didn't want to have his hair cut. And I suddenly remembered, oh, that time when I didn't want to have my hair cut. So basically, Swamiji showed me through Facebook what the incident was.
It is amazing. Like what Swamiji says, it is what is most important is your intention to completion. When we
Yeah.
have that intention completion and say to Swamiji, he clearly sees, okay, now you're ready to see what the incident is, and he reveals it to us so that we can actually complete with that incident.
Yeah, and it suddenly comes,
Wonderful.
and it's really spooky how it happens sometimes. It's magical, basically. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. So, yeah, so you have attended Paramashiva Sena 3, I think in Los
I
Angeles,
attended-
as well as
Yeah, so I attended the whole of Paramashiva Sena 3 in February, March, and then in July I missed my plane. So I attended 12 days of Paramashiva 8. Sorry, of Paramashiva Sena 8 in Antigua. Yeah.
how was this different? You know, like you have lived completion for many years. How is this Paramashiva Sena program taken to a deeper level of completion?
Well, as I mentioned a bit earlier, when I went to Paramashiva Sena 3, I was pretty clear, okay, these are the five patterns running my life, or these are 5 patterns, but I wasn't completely clear about the root incident and the root pattern, and that actually became crystal clear during Paramashiva Sena 3, and that's, as I said earlier, that's when my mind, because we're in Swamiji's presence, right? It became, I had this idea that it all started when I was about 1 or 2, and I was lying in my crib crying and nobody came, and then one of the acharyas during PSS3 said, no, that can't be the root incident because you had no vocabulary. And then I realized, oh, it's when I had my hair cut. And so that only got totally clear in February. And then I completed with that, knowing this is the root incident. And then my mind went very quiet. And that was a huge change. So it's actually quite recent. But as I said, I want to help people get that result much faster than I did, right? There's no reason why it should take as long as I took. Some people, there were people on PSS3 who were new to Swamiji. Well, they can have that experience now.
Definitely. Yeah. So for those who are watching, the viewers, and learning about completion, in Paramashiva Sena, which is conducted, now offered in Los Angeles, St. Kitts and Nevis, and in Kashi, India. This is a very, very powerful technique that Swamiji has taught us, which, not only alters your future to manifest what you want, but it has the power to alter even your past. It's a very powerful technique. And if you would like to benefit from this, please do register for Paramashiva Sena program. It is a 30-day program, which is to become the ambassador of Paramashiva, and only Paramashiva himself can be an ambassador of Paramashiva. So basically, it is an ultimate program in living the Paramadvaita. And it's absolutely free, offered in 3 different locations, wherever is convenient for you. Please do register. And, this is a very deep transformational program, and taking responsibility not only for your own completion, but also for the societal and cultural level, where you can see that even the people that are influencing you, you are able to enrich them and shift them their space. So, Ayat, thank you so much. I know it is quite late or early in the morning for you in UK, and you joined us today to share your experiences about completion and how it has transformed your life. And you have taken that responsibility to transform millions of lives through the books that you have, written. And given what you have been through and what you said just now, people don't have to waste so many years. They can do this quickly and, live in
Yeah.
that space of completion blissfully.
Yeah,
What
they
is
could.
it that you would like to share? What
Well,
would you
I would
like
say,
to share?
yeah, I would say you can do this now. You can do this in September. you, you don't have to go around the houses for several years. You just so the first half of Paramashiva Sena is like a crash course in completion, right? In Swamiji's presence. So I can't think of a faster way of transforming your life. So go for it. Yeah. And thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you.
I've learnt a lot just from participating. So thank you very much. And thank you to Swamiji.
Thank you so much, Aya. Thank you for joining us and sharing your experiences. And for all the viewers who have joined us, you can also live completion and live blissfully by participating in the Paramashiva Sena program. You can register for this program at ecitizen.info/PSS. And thank you all for watching. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow in the next series, next show. Now let us now close with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Bhagavat Shri Nithyananda Paramashiva Padukarpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam